Exciting Neo Geo Max 330メガの劇的体験 Neo Geo System SNK.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and the start of our brand new Fall to Winter series, Neo Nostalgia. And if you can't tell already, we're going to be talking about the Neo Geo because I own a few bits of hardware and a few games because it's one of my favorite consoles of all time. You guys have also been asking for a series on the Neo Geo, so we're going to get it started off right today. But of course, with every new series, I always build you guys a little hype reel, so go ahead and watch the next 30 seconds and I'll come back and break down the history of Neo Geo and all the hardware. But let's get into it right now. So I hope that built up a little bit of an appetite of what's coming over the next 13 weeks. But to say I love the Neo Geo would be an understatement. I've been collecting for it for about 17 years now, and I've been playing it since the mid-90s. I remember when I first saw Neo Geo in arcades, I absolutely fell in love with it. And as a kid, learning that you could actually buy this as a home console blew my mind. But I never had it as a kid, so of course as an adult, I had to get involved in the Neo Geo universe, and that's why we're doing this entire series. Right off the top, it's incredible that this console came home because it is just an arcade board in a shell. And I will say, when I first saw the cartridges, I had never seen anything so big. The cartridge slot is literally the same size as my hand. And right on the top, that advertising went deep. Max 330 Mega Pro Gear spec. That's actually a misnomer. It can use more than 330 megabits of data with bank switching, but that number was just obscene back in the day. But taking a look at the physical console itself, it is a black monolithic slab of fun. You get your power switch, two DB15 connectors in the front, a headphone jack, and a volume rocker as well. And that's because the headphones up front will do stereo, and you even get a memory card because some games actually do save your progress. But taking a look around the back, this has been an untouched console for the 16 years I've owned it. It has been modified with S-Video and composite, outputs that I don't use right now, but you also have your power plug in and your RGB out. And RGB is really funny on the Neo Geo AES. Depending on what revision you have, it's either spectacular or dog crap terrible. You want to read the serial number of any console you're potentially getting to see whether or not you're going to get that good RGB out, and I'll leave a link down below to that list. But the main reason I love the Neo Geo AES is the cartridges and the cases that they come in. Just handling these and putting them on a shelf alone is spectacular, but don't worry, I do play every single game in my collection. But something like SVC Chaos here, a fun if flawed game, just to show you how these things actually came. They are massive, they are fun, and they weigh like 3 to 4 pounds in your hand. These things, if you hit somebody with them, would do some serious damage. But the snap lock cases were the second revision, because when the AES first came home, you got these soft cases, and these vary in quality. If you get a really nice soft case like this right here, that plastic insert will be flawless. If you get more of a worn one, that's going to be cracked and almost missing. But there's two different packaging styles that I can show you here. The one I can't is the cardboard box, because I actually don't own any of those games. But putting them side by side, no matter what format they come in, they are just so much fun to collect for. But let's take a look inside and see what's in the snap lock case. And depending on how much or how little you play a game, you will see here SVC Chaos. I was the original owner of it. I haven't opened it too many times, so that snap lock hinge is still amazingly tight. But even the plastic bags that the manuals come in, Neo Geo collectors care about. These manuals came in plastic bags, and a set is not considered complete for most people unless you actually have that little piece of cellophane. I don't always have to have it, it just came with it. Of course, I'm not going to throw it away. But you got a lot of awesome art, some very thirsty if you can't tell with my there. But the SVC Chaos manual is in full color, and it is absolutely spectacular. These games were not cheap when you bought them, and SNK wanted to make sure you were getting value for your money, and every single thing in a Neo Geo game, for the most part, is usually extremely high quality. Even those boobs on the right hand side, someone put a lot of effort into that apparently. And yes, I just did flick an original manual across the table, but it doesn't matter because I don't really care too much. But taking a look at a Super Mario Bros. 3 cartridge next to the AES cart, it is tiny in comparison. That is because the amount of boards and ROM chips compared to a normal Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis game is wildly different. I would open a cart up, but it's near impossible. I am terrible at it. But you also get 2 PCBs in every Neo Geo cartridge. It's not one like every other cart system out there. You get an extra one because SNK cared that much, even so much to emboss their logo inside of the case, which actually can scratch cartridges if you slide them around a little too much. But the original softbox cases came with different manual styles compared to the later snap-lock cases, and they are still great, but it's fun how much SNK changed things over time. They were always changing their packaging, they were changing manual styles. You got different things depending on what generation of the game it came from. And if we even go over to something like Geru Mark of the Wolves here, an amazing game, some of the best games on the system, some of the later games, you actually don't get full color in the manual. It's actually black and white, but some games did come with a registration card. I'm wondering if I fill this out and send it back to SNK, would anyone actually get it today? I don't think I'm going to do that because having the reg card for this game complete is fun, but honestly, it always makes me think if anyone's out there at the address. But collecting Neo Geo games comes out of a rabbit hole. You do dumb things like get an entire AES full set of the King of Fighters because you love the franchise that much, even though there's a lot of different ways to play these games and a lot cheaper way to play them as well. But of course we've talked about the AES, what about the CD? Because I've already shown that to you. And I picked up, just to shoot for this intro, a complete in-box matching serial Neo Geo CD front loader, and you can see the footprint wise they're very similar, but they're quite different. Obviously the first thing is the medium. It's not cartridge based, it is CD based, and that was to make software cheaper for the end user because not everyone in Japan or the US wanted to spend that much money on those cartridges. You get a power adapter that I'll get to in a moment, and you get this little box right here, and I'll show you what's inside of it. Obviously it's controllers in a bit, but it's the best controller ever made. And taking a look at the top, you even get this nice metal plaque that was not put on straight. SNK could not put stickers on anything straight. Half the Neo Geo cartridges I have, the stickers are crooked. That's just how it happens. And while the Neo Geo CD definitely made things more economical for the end user, it lacks the charm of those giant cartridges, and not every single game that came out on AES is going to be available on the CD system, but you did get an S-video port, which was nice, and honestly the RGB quality out of the CD systems is much better than some of the Neo Geo AES systems, but that power plug is so loose in there, I hate that design. But of course, one good CD console begets another, and that is because we have the CDZ up top. The only thing I don't own is the top loader. That's not the CDZ, and I didn't want to buy one just to show you guys on camera. But honestly, the CDZ, it tends to overheat if you don't modify it, but it is a faster CD-ROM drive with the exact same ports, and honestly, front loader is probably just something you should ignore. They're quite temperamental, like the one below. It doesn't quite work right now. And I will show you guys a full teardown of some hardware in a later video in this series on Friday. I kind of want to just talk about the overall vibe of the Neo Geo, and I should clean that dust out right there off camera. But it's just so fun to look at all of this varied hardware and see how big the CD console was before it got to the CDZ. It is a complete joke as to how large that front loader is. It's massive. And of course you get CD games as well. The artwork's still nice, but it just lacks the punch of having something like an AES cartridge in front of you. But they did have multiple revisions of the CD artwork as well, just like the softbox versus the snap-lock and the manuals. Some Neo Geo CD games just have the Neo Geo logo on it with the title down below, but you still get some really artwork on the back. But if we take a look at some later games like KOF 97 here, some games do come with artwork that is for the game itself on the disc. SNK just couldn't decide what they wanted to do, so they were constantly doing different things. But I know I said earlier I'd talk about the CD controller because this is the best controller ever made that's not an arcade stick in my opinion. The clicky thumbstick is perfection. If you're going to use one controller that's not an actual arcade stick on the Neo Geo CD or Neo Geo, make it this one, trust me. But I love the box as well, how huge it is. These were premium products when they were sold back in the day, and SNK wanted you to know that by giving you so much stuff in the box, and such a great box to look at. And I love that mine even has the original Japanese stickers on it from some store that sold it back in the day. And like I said, you even get to read that Put yourself in the action with stunning graphics, superlative sound, and the ultimate arcade games. The new age of Neo Geo has arrived. Well, that's a little bit outdated now, but the Neo Geo series has arrived, and over the next 13 weeks I'm going to be talking about 13 amazing Neo Geo AES and CD games. But do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out, and leave me a comment and tell me what your favorite Neo Geo game is. Short of that, I'll have videos through the week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!